I am super excited to be here with you guys today. A couple things before we get going. Well, what is today? February 12th. Oh my gosh, February is halfway over almost. Where did the time go? So Energize comes out next week on the 19th. So be thinking about what you guys are doing, how you guys are marketing it, how you guys talking about it, especially get your whole downline on board, making sure everyone orders. I mean, it could be a big volume jump that day for that. So that's the 19th. We're halfway through Team Cup. So just a Team Cup check-in. Make sure you're checking in with your whole downline. Everyone's doing well on that, hitting SC. The Elite Report just came out too. I know it's been super confusing. I think it was wrong. Now everything in the back office should be corrected and it should be good to go. If you have any issues with it, I don't really even know what you do if you have issues with it right now. Hopefully you don't. But if you do have issues with it, let me know. And we might just have to call Coach Relations. I know a few people are still saying that it's incorrect. But hopefully now. We've been a hot mess so far in 2019. That's what I've realized. So we're trying to get everything squared away with that. So just let me know if you have any questions on it, if you're confused about your points or anything like that. But today we have a special guest with us. We have Jamie Glassman, who is a newer coach, but hit 5-star last year, hit Elite last year, and ended up number 17 in the network. So seriously, just crushed it. So I know you guys have tons of questions for Jamie, but before we get there, Jamie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started with Beachbody, your Beachbody journey kind of so far. Give us your story.
Okay. Hi guys. I got started about last October, so a little over a year ago. And I'm a fitness instructor in LA. I teach at SoulCycle, and I was the world's biggest Beachbody hater, just because I had been invited to this opportunity for years, hundreds of times. And I just always felt really like icky by all of the invites and people I was talking to. And I had no idea what this business even was. But I was never interested. To kind of circle back even before that, I used to be a first grade teacher before I taught SoulCycle, and I did Insanity in my living room, 5-6 years ago. Had no idea that it was even like Beachbody or like what that was. I just knew about Insanity and I did that and loved those workouts. But then as time went on, I, started to realize that I didn't want to be a teacher anymore, made that transition to SoulCycle, and now I live in LA and I'm a full-time SoulCycle instructor. And then, I just never wanted anything else with this opportunity. And I remember my coach now, she kept coming to my class often, and she kept inviting me every couple months. And I still was just like, I loved her, but I was like, I'm not interested in this Beachbody thing. I just am not. Every time she spoke to me about it, it was like, literally, it sounded like gibberish. I'm not even kidding. I didn't understand what she was talking about. It was like, I just remember being like, good for you. I've never wanted to hear anything she was saying. And then until a couple of months later, I was starting to realize I was in a shitty spot with financially, and just a lot of things kind of transitioned with my paychecks. And I just kind of realized, what am I doing in 3 years? Fitness, is amazing right now, but what's going to happen in a couple of years? So started to have little panic attacks about what's next, what's my next move. I need to be prepared for that. And then I got to a really, really low spot, and I just, I couldn't afford my groceries, and just stuff started to really feel shitty with my finances. And I remember seeing a post that Megan had posted, my coach Megan, and it was an income progression. And it was literally the same, but she'd probably posted that same thing 5 or 6 times before. I had seen it. I had scrolled right past it. And there was that moment that I just needed to see it. And I remember just looking at it and being like, all right, let's just give this thing a shot. And let's see what this is all about. So I reached out to her. I said, don't bullshit me. Let's hear it. And then I just right then signed up the next day. And just made that decision from day one that if I was going to do this, I was going to do this. And I didn't have the support from my parents or my fiance. Everyone was like, okay, good luck, have fun. I didn't have any of that support, but I just, from day one, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to make a fool out of myself from what I thought I was just going to sign up and play around. I was going to really show myself and everybody else that I was going to do this. And so from day one, I kind of went all in with my fears and my objections and my actions. And so last year was very successful because of that. And I tell everybody that I feel like there was that element of like hunger for me that I think coaches need to have, and it doesn't have to be financially, but there has to be like that level of hunger if you're trying to grow and move quickly. So I had that, and it was like there was no plan B for me. So that's kind of, I think, really has contributed to my success and why I decided to, take so many steps forward with this business. So, yeah.
Seriously incredible. Like, your journey is incredible. What you did in a year is incredible. Everything about it. So I'll start off questions, and then guys, you guys can follow. So tell me a little bit about your recruiting strategy. And you developed 5 diamonds last year. So kind of just give me the process of how you're recruiting, who you're recruiting, and then how are you getting them to go diamond and beyond, because you also have leadership development points in there.
So, I mean, I will be fully honest. My first 3 months, I didn't invite to the business because I was scared. And it was like, I got the challenge thing down. I was really comfortable with like running these groups because I saw great results. So it was like, I was like getting comfortable in this place. And my coach was like, look, you're like killing it with these challenges and stuff, but you got to take this to the next level if you want that residual income. And, I started to really understand like the opportunity more than just making fun little weekly paychecks like this here and there. And I was like, all right, I was so scared. I mean, like all of us, I think I was terrified what people would say and what people would think. And like, I felt like I had built up this kind of reputation with my fitness business and career that I was really scared to like damage that. And it was all in my head, obviously, but I just was like scared to talk about it. And I just remember being like, you have 2 ways. Like, you got to either do it or don't. And so I made a decision. I remember like 3 months in, I was like, I'm going to start talking about it. Like, it was uncomfortable, but I started talking a little bit about what this business was doing. And I was treating it really kind of like a little side fun thing. And I felt like I wasn't really attracting people until I really started to show them that like, I'm going to sit down and work, and I'm doing work. And like, I felt like that was what attracted me to people that wanted to work. And so I really think that first month I got people in and out. They were like doing a challenge and then they would leave. And then it was just like, I was not finding people that were like, hey, this is a business. We're going to work this as a business. And like, do you want to change your life with this business? Until I started to really talk about it like that. So then I just started to share like how hard I was working, because I was not watching Netflix like at 8:00 at night. I was doing work, and I would go teach classes all the time. And then I would be in my car, like working from my phone in between classes and personal training and stuff. So I was showing that. And I think that alone really started to share like what was real, because I think that a lot of the time we want to just be like, oh, this is fun, I'm going on trips and this is awesome, which it all is, but like it takes work. And I think the way we're going to attract people that are going to want to work is if we really share that too. So I just started to grow my network more. I started to reach out to everybody I knew. Obviously, it started with my warm market, and like within a couple of months that wore out. And then I just started to, I did Spin Social, which is one of those apps that kind of like follows, unfollows. And I just started to reaching out to everyone. Like, I made like a little notebook list, and I would reach out to like 30 to 50 people a day, just connecting with them, starting conversations. And just, I'm like a just kind of go for it kind of person. So I would just be inviting people and not expecting anything in return. Like most of those times I was not expecting those yeses. I was just expecting I would like them to look at my page now, and I would like them to start watching me. So my initial invites are not like to expect them to join me right away. It's just that like invite into my life. So I want them to start watching what I'm doing, watching my journey. And then, after a couple months, they start watching and they start seeing the success that I'm having. And I think a lot of them then start joining. So I kind of treat the invites not like an invite, let's do this right now. It's like an invite into my life, so you can start seeing everything that I'm doing and hopefully be attracted to that.
I love that. Awesome. Okay, guys, what questions do you have? Go ahead.
I'll go. I really love that approach. What is your verbiage usually? Are they cold invites, or when you're reaching out, are you just making connections and then you're following up with an invite to like a challenge group, or are you really just saying like, I'd like to invite you to follow my journey?
So it kind of depends. I just know how I felt when I was like randomly approached by people, and I felt like it was so icky, and I still get approached by people, and I'm like, come on, you don't know you're a coach and you don't know that I'm a Beachbody coach. Like that to me just does not, it feels so uncomfortable. And I think you have to do a little bit of research to see who they are, what they're about, what they stand for. So if there's like a fitness instructor that I am completely vibing with, like I probably will like approach them and say like, hey girl, like I started this, you know, like I know I see you're a spin instructor also. And I started this business last year when I, you know, kind of connect with them and then just go for it and say like, I don't know if you've ever thought about doing any, like transitioning any stuff to online, but it's really been amazing for me. But then there's a lot of people that I don't have that connective like tissue with, and I have to build that. So even the cold invites aren't that cold. You know, it feels like there's still a little background that goes behind me, like getting to know them and vice versa. So it kind of is 50-50, but I'm never just randomly, if they're not following me, if they don't see anything I do, like I'm just not sending invites like that. There has to be either that initial follow and like likes and comments and stuff, and then that invite or whatever. So I just know how I felt with yeah.
I totally agree. So you send about 30 to 50 of those out a day, would you say?
Yeah, I think especially back before when I was first starting, I did, because I had great results and I knew I had like, I was like, I got to tell this to everybody. And so I was sharing that all the time. I was sharing my results. I was sharing that in my stories and in my posts. So even if they didn't, you know, even if they're like, what is this chick about? And then they would go to my story. I would see them looking at my stories. So then they would see that. So I would say 30 to 50 of those. And then like maybe 10 or 20, like just like comments and likes and connections, I think.
That's so awesome. And are you able to pass that on to your team? I know you developed 5 diamonds so quickly. Is that what you instruct your team to do? Do you give them like a script and say, okay, you're doing 30 to 50 of these types of reach outs a day?
So I'm probably very different than other coaches. I like never liked giving scripts to people because it just feels like you can literally tell. Like I know if someone is sending me a script, and I feel like I didn't want to set up my coaches that way. I give them like, I'll tell them a little bit of ideas of how I talk. But I think that for me, the way I learned was doing a lot of things and failing at a lot of them. I had like a lot of word vomits to people. I hopped on a lot of calls with people that didn't sign up because I was, you know, not saying the right things. But I think it takes a little bit of that trial and error to figure out like what works for each person. And the way I invite, if my coach tries to do that, it just is not going to sound the same. So I give them like what I say, but I don't give them scripts. I say, you know, whatever is true to you. If you're, you know, not struggling to lose 5 pounds and maybe it was like an emotional thing, emotional eating, like that's something that you need to share on and connect with. So I don't give scripts that much. I just kind of say like, do it as like, even if you send 20 invites and they all think you're crazy and they're not good, at least you like learn from that. You know, you learn the right ways to talk to people. And I just think I was never given those scripts. And even when I used them, they just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was talking to people. Like you would never get a script to go ask someone for lunch, you know, so I just feel like you kind of have to really treat this as like a person-to-person business. And I never really liked scripts because it just didn't feel authentic to me and my team. But I know they work for a lot of people. So I think it just really depends on, you know, the person.
Although, how did you relay to your team why Elite was important and why they needed to reach diamond rank so quickly?
So I will be fully honest. Like I was at the beginning, it's for the first like 6 months, I was just like doing this business. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. I wasn't so focused on those things, on like all the things. I'm like, I didn't even know what Elite was. I didn't know what these points were. I was just like doing all the things I needed to do. And eventually, obviously, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. You know, the success is coming. So at first I didn't really understand it. And now that I do, I personally feel like Elite will happen if you're doing all the things you need to do. So I think for me, it was less about like hitting this goal, doing this thing. It was like doing all those small steps every single day that are going to get you to the goal. Because at the beginning, like, no, like all my coaches, like when they first sign up, they don't know what elite is. And what does that actually mean to them? Like, it doesn't mean that much to them. So I had to find out like what their goals were. And if it was like financial freedom or time, whatever, obviously elite is going to bring them to all of those goals. But I think when I was first starting, like when my coach told me about elite, like that wasn't driving me. I didn't even know what that was. So I think you have to, at least for me, I try to work with my coaches on what their goals are and, show them and explain to them how elite will help them get to those goals, and then the actions that they need to take to get to elite and those goals. Because I think it's easy to throw around these terms sometimes, like diamond, like why is diamond important to your coaches? A lot of them will be like, I just want diamond. I just want diamond. Like, I've learned this is not a diamond business. This is like, you want leaders. You want people that don't just see diamond as diamond. Like, because I've already had several diamonds like sign up or, hit diamond and then quit, because I don't want just diamonds. Like, I want people that are in it for life. So I'm trying to really focus on my coaches' goals and taking those steps every day, how we can get them to those goals, instead of, I think, those like titles that sometimes put pressure on when they don't understand what they mean, if that makes sense, So I really try to work with them on the why behind the elite and why elite is so important and the steps they need to take to get to elite, and not just like, hey guys, we're going to go elite. Because a lot of them are like, okay, whatever you say, like, what does that mean? So I think the why is really, really important behind explaining. So this year, recently I just explained that I want to hit 15 star. And like, it wasn't just like, okay guys, let's hit 15 star. I need 15 diamonds. Like, I really wanted to explain to them what that would mean for me and what that would mean for them as far as all of our goals combined, Does that answer that question? Any other questions?
If no one else will go, I'll just keep asking. I love how simple you've been explaining things, how simple you're keeping things. And I feel like you had to do that because you've really grown your team so fast, and there's no time for things to be complex. So for you, what's kind of like in the beginning when a coach signs up for the business, what's kind of like your onboarding system, or do you have a system, or like, do you have these first steps that you get them started with?
Yeah. So I'm like the queen of simple, because I when I first signed up, I had like one of my upline coaches gave me like a 70-page book, and I was like, hell no. Like, I was like, I looked through it. None of it made sense. I didn't understand any of it. I was like, what? Like, I was so overwhelmed. And I think that that's natural for anyone who signs up. They're going to feel overwhelmed because it's like, whoa, what? Like, so I'm very, very simple, basic. Like, I send them a welcome email, which basically gets them, adds them to our pages, like our team page, and then Beachbody Champion. It has like setting up their direct deposit and their website right away. And then at the bottom, it's just like, how, if you want to start, making your money back. I basically frame it like, if you want to make this initial investment back, let's get 3 people to join you in this journey and help, hold you accountable together so we can go through our first challenge together. Something like that. If you want to like write down a list, I think I have like a little spot for like a jogger, like write down a list of your family and friends. It's the easiest way to get people to join you. And then they do that, and I can kind of see who's adding themselves to my page. It kind of shows me what pace they're going at. If they're not adding to the page a week later, it's like they haven't even looked at it. And then at the bottom, there's a new coach basics video. It's like 30 minutes, and it really just goes over like very, very basic things like Success Club. Like, just every month we help 3 people. It goes over like creating a jogger like invite list of like all of the people that you're close with, coworkers, family, friends, just asking them to join you on your journey. So and then hitting Emerald. Why it's important to hit Emerald right away, just because instead of just making commission, then you can bonus from what all of our team is doing, and you can start making that money right away. So that's it. That's all I send them is in their welcome email. And then as they kind of are going through that first challenge, meaning they need to get started on the program. Like, so I get them started on a program, and within, a week, I kind of know what their energy is. Like, I know if they're like, give me more, if they just want to go through the program. Because if they invited people and they have a couple people to join, then I start giving them my new coach training, which is like still very simple. I just created it. It's like through Thinkific, and it's like I think it's like 8 days of more in depth of like Success Club, vital behaviors, all that. So I don't throw that on them right away. I usually wait a little bit to see like what they're going to do. And if someone I can tell is like ready to go, then I hop on a call with them and I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Go like, you know, A, B, C, D. And if it's going to take them a little longer, I wait for them to come to me. Or, you know, cause usually I just had a girl that she had to go through this process herself. 3 weeks later, now she's like ready to run. And she's like, okay, I'm obsessed with this. So sometimes it just takes a little belief, obviously, in the programs, because not everyone is going to sign up and day one, they're like ready to build a business. Some people just need that like space to do the program and understand for themselves. So that's kind of how I've approached it. And it was the same for me. Like I could talk to all my family and friends, but I wasn't like so passionate and excited to talk to everybody until I saw results for myself.
Okay, guys, what other questions do you have?
Good.
You guys are quiet today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For like newer coaches or coaches that are just starting to build their business and hit Success Club, maybe for the first time or going for the second time or whatever, what do you say to them or how do you help them when you see that they are increasing their invites and they're showing up and they're like, you know, like when you're first starting, there's so many things coming at you and they're trying to put it all together, but they're not seeing that success yet. They're not signing coaches yet, or they're not hitting Success Club yet. And you like, I don't know, like, is there anything that you say to them or any way that you help mentor them? I
feel like that's the daily struggle. Like, right.
Yeah.
You're like, they're doing all the things, they say they're doing all the things, but it's not showing. And I truly think that if like Success Club, to me, if you're not helping 3 people, it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's got to increase the invites, or, you know, you have to get that basic foundation. So I will automatically say, let me see how many invites you're sending. Usually it'll be like 15. I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. You gotta increase that to 30 or 40. And then of course, if I see that they're like, you know, they say they're sending 50 out, I want to see it. I want to see their tracker. I want to see how they're keeping track of it. And then once we get to there, and if I see that they're doing all the things, then I'll ask to see that their invites, and maybe we just need to tweak some words, or they're coming off too aggressive, or maybe, you know. So I don't like hold hands. Like, I just think everyone should be able to figure it out. And, you know, it's all a numbers thing. Like, if you're sending 10 invites, you're probably going to get 0 to say yes. So I just would first tell them to increase their numbers. Second, look over what for me personally, I would look over what those invites look like, because I don't want them just sending rapid invites that are not going to connect with anybody. And then I just like tell them, you know, I don't know, I tell them to dig into personal development, because I do think it's like a mindset thing. Like, I just really believe it. If someone is like sending 100 invites a day, but their mind is like in the wrong place, they're not going to find success. So I want people to kind of work on that part too. Like, I had a girl that's hitting Success Club, but she's like really messed up here right now. And I just know that she's not going to be able to go any further than that unless she like really gets this first. So yeah, I hope that answers that.
No,
There's definitely some coaches that you're like, I don't know, like 100%. I have those coaches right now that like they've hit Success Club for 5 months and now like they're just like not, and they say they're doing the things, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep moving. I don't know. Me personally, I got to keep moving. Like, I just think if they're doing the things that they need to do every day, they will be hitting Success Club 5. And maybe that's just like a tough love kind of mindset, but I got to find people that are gonna. So don't drag people. That's my advice.
I love it. One follow-up question for like when you were running for 5-star and this year with your goal of 15-star, do you like incentivize them at all? I mean, you share your vision, but do you also say like, hey, if we hit it by this date, then we're going to go on a trip, or I don't know.
So I just did that like a couple days ago because I just got back from New Leader Conference and I was like fired up, and I'm like, guys, if and I made like a little vision board as far as like I have my 5 diamonds on there. And I said, if we're hitting 15 star, like I'm taking all of us on a trip and we get to pick, like, you know, we'll rent a house in Malibu or something. Says for me, I'm willing to do that and spend that because I know it will be worth it. And I, you know, I had it was more for me. I wanted to see who was in it and who was ready to run. And so I had a couple of people that are like, I'm in it. I want this. And then the other people, we'll see what they do. But I definitely think incentive, especially, I mean, I'm like a competitive person. So I like incentives. I like that competitiveness. And I think you just have to figure out what's for them. Like January for my Success Club people that hit Success Club, I like sent them like a little cup. I don't do that every single month. It's more of just like occasionally I'll throw incentives. And for bigger goals, you know, they get big presents from me when they hit 2-star and 5-star and all those things. So I definitely have incentives, and I think that helps for certain types of people. And then some of people, it's just income. Like some people don't want presents. They just want their income to grow. So I'm going to go back to their why and show them how. You're telling me you want $1,000 a month. Like you can't send 10 invites a day. So we kind of have to work on what their goals are and how they're going to reach that. So, but yes, I do offer incentives.
Would you say that you invite equally or more to like your challenge groups versus coaching, or more to coaching versus like, what's that ratio for you?
That I've like kind of gone both back and forth. Like right now I'm doing like my challenge group just because I have one coming up next week. So it's like more of like that focus. Like I'm kind of focusing more on that. And then I do usually 2 weeks of challenge group invites, 2 weeks of coaching. I felt like for a while I was doing both, and it was like my message was almost confusing because like one day I'm like inviting to my challenge and then the next day I was like trying to get people to coach. So it just felt like I was confusing myself. So now I've split it up, like 2 weeks of the month I'm doing challenge group invites, 2 weeks I'm doing coach. And that's pretty much my sole focus. So same with thing like my you know, my feed and my stories and my posts, those are going to be more surrounded like around like challenge groups right now. Of course, if I like am inviting to a challenge group and I see a girl that would be an amazing coach, I would kind of offer that as well. But I kind of like to split it up in my mind that way.
That's awesome. I love that. Like
yeah.
This on those. And then when you have someone who's interested in coaching, do you have like a coach sneak peek that you do, or like a video or any kind of, what's your system for that?
Yeah. So I run sneak peeks. I usually do like 2 a month. I'm trying to do a little bit more, but it's just sometimes gets, you know, tedious. But I have like a standing one. So I have like a sneak peek that like I can throw people into, my downline can throw people in always. So it doesn't have to be like a live sneak peek. And even if they're inviting, like let's say today I'm inviting people to join, they can always go into that. And that really is very simple. It's like a 15-minute video of just like how I got started, what we do as coaches, how we make money, and then the objections that I had. And then usually I'll have one of my coaches go in there, like a newer coach, talk about her success, her story. And then I can always dump people. And we're kind of just keeping those fresh every 2 weeks. And then I say, like, watch those videos, and then I'd love to hop on a call with you. So I usually like to talk to someone after watching those videos, because I just feel like it's that extra personal connection that I think a lot of people need. Like, you know, so I like to hop on calls with people, and I've hopped on a lot of calls with people that didn't sign up, but I just feel like it adds that extra layer of like, here are my concerns, here are my questions. Oh, now I can address those for you, and I can help talk through those. So they watch the video, they let me know when they watch them, and then I say, amazing, let's schedule a call. I would love to jump on like a couple minutes and talk through it. I just feel like I can personally close a deal better when I'm talking to someone than like, hey, like, how'd that go? Let's get you signed up. You know, I just feel like for coaching especially, it helped me.
Awesome. This is great. Any other questions? Alicia, did you get your question answered? Okay, I think we're good there.
I can ask a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Since you are a fitness instructor, what's your best advice for inviting people who already have a fitness regimen in place? I feel like I get a lot of pushback from girls who are like, oh, I love the gym, or I lift heavy, which, by the way, go fuck yourself. So, anyways. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hear that all the time, and I'm like, you're an idiot. But so how would you go about approaching those type of people?
So it's funny, like, I feel like for a while I was hearing from so many like coaches, like, oh my God, it must be so easy, so much easier because you are a fitness instructor and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it is honestly so much harder. Like, I feel like a lot of people think it's harder to relate to me and what I'm doing and my business and how I work out because it's not because I have this background. So I appreciate that you know that there is so much pushback because I get it all day long. And I will say that I was that girl. I was like, I was a gym rat for 2 hours. Like, I would go through those different like waves of different types of working out. So I talk about that on my feed a lot. Like, oh, used to go to the gym for 2 hours. So I talk about that a lot. But of course I still have those girls that like love to lift and bodybuild. And like, maybe that is not I'm not attracting them. Maybe I'm not going to work on them just because some of them are in their own thing and that is their thing. But there's a lot of girls that like me, they just like walk around the gym and they love going to the gym, but they're not getting a great workout. And I work out at my gym. So I show them and I talk about that a lot. Like, these are not at home workouts only. You can do these anywhere. You can take these to the gym. My boyfriend, my fiance, I guess now, he takes this to the gym. He does lift 4 with his ear pods in and takes it to the gym. So I think showing them, more importantly than trying to convince someone, is my route or my approach. So but I wouldn't say like I'm not attracting a lot of bodybuilding type girls. And also had to realize that like, maybe I need to change my direction a little bit. I also used to be a teacher. So, and like my best coaches are not fitness instructors. I've actually signed up 20 SoulCycle instructors and 0 of them have done anything. So I kind of had to switch that mindset of like, it doesn't mean just because you have a lot of followers or like you're a fitness instructor that you're going to be good at this. You need to be relatable and you need to have belief. So if you have girls that are like giving you a lot of pushback, I don't try to convince anybody. So a lot of those girls are still watching me. Maybe one day they'll come around, but I really try not to like push and try to convince someone and just share the way that it's working for me. I mean, and I used to be a gym rat, so I talk about that a lot, you know.
I love that. Showing them is more important than convincing them. And I think that's just in general, you know, with everything you're doing every single day, showing them is more important than convincing them.
Yeah. And like,
Okay.
I change when my coaches say that, when I hear them say that, it drives me nuts. Like, they'll be like, I'm trying to convince these 2 girls. I'm like, don't convince these 2 girls. Go ask 10 more girls, because it's like, they get so focused on those 2 that they want to close and they want to get them to buy that challenge pack. I'm like, move along on all of, you know, we get so fixated on the people that we really want to sign up when there's so many other people that, and then you get that one person that's like, sure, tell me more information. And you're like, you just want information? That's great. You know? So I think sometimes it's easy to like focus on those people that you really, really want to sign up. And then you just have to let them keep watching. Cause I promise they just are watching. So.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
When you were in that phase where you were sending out the 30 to 50 invites, what do you think time-wise that took you? Approximately.
Not that long. I mean, now it's even better because of these voice notes and stuff. Like, it wasn't taking that long. So when people said that they like, I mean, I didn't even have that long. Like, I probably spent an hour on invites, and that was all I was doing. Like, I was not at the beginning trying to make these cute graphics for my team or trying to like, I see people waste so much time and I'm like, that probably took you 5 to 10 minutes on that. So I just like wasn't wasting my time on things that like were not necessary, especially at the beginning. 1 hour solid invites or 30 minutes solid invites only. And I think that like, I didn't have the fancy trainings at the beginning, or I still don't. I don't have those cute graphics that make everything look beautiful and pretty, but like, I didn't need that. And I still don't think you do need that. I think it's the invites, like, it doesn't take that long, you know, but I will say that I really prioritize my time, because at the beginning it was like, okay, I was spending 20 minutes on invites, but then if those people are sending you stuff back, I tell my coaches, if you're sending only invites, do not respond to them back, because then you're conversing and then it's taking up time. And then you're not sending new invites. So it's like 20 minutes, new invites, 20 minutes going back to chat with people, 20 minutes like follow up. So I really am strategic about what I'm doing in that time. Exactly. And don't get distracted by, because especially if you're working from your phone, it's like, there's just so much going on. So not a lot of time, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay, so how I finally got my audio. How are you finding that many people to invite on a daily basis?
So
Are they coming to you, or like you're following them, or you're going to their stories, or how's that happening?
That was like part of my, I mean, I did STEM social for a while, so it was like naturally adding a lot of people to my network. So I was getting like 100 people a week. And then, like I said, so those 100 people, they were being invited into my life, into my world, into my community. And so I was hoping that a lot of them would watch. So I kind of like, I do have new people, new eyes on my page that I can see are watching. And those are people that I'm inviting. So, and then if I find like, okay, if I find like I'm going through the week and I'm like, shit, there's a lot of people, I've already invited these people a lot, I'm like running out of people, then I use that time to go, you know, like, comment, use that 3-2-1 method and find new people to attract. So I feel like I'm never really running out, because then I'm finding more. So I don't think like I don't feel like I'm running out. Like occasionally I'll look at people on my stories that I haven't ever talked to before, and I'm like, oh, there's a new person. So if you're finding that it's the same people and you're only inviting the same people, I would suggest spending your invite time on new connections.
So if you find like you have all these new people who are liking, commenting, following, checking out your stories, sorry, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here but like you're inviting them into your world. Like, what does that look like versus inviting them to a challenge group or coaching?
So first I'll like look through their page and see if we have like anything to connect with. Maybe they're a teacher. Like I have my specific hashtags that like I feel like hopefully is going to be something that I can connect with them with. Like Michigan, if they're from Michigan, I'll connect with them and just say like, hey girl, I saw we just got connected. Even if we have nothing to connect with, I'll say like, hey Jess, I saw we got connected on here. I love like connecting with other women on social media. Like, what do you do or something? Or like, where do you live? And just like a little mini chat. And then maybe I'll leave the conversation. Like just a little hello, how are you kind of thing. And it doesn't mean I have to have like a 20-minute conversation, but usually just like, and maybe they'll be like, oh, I'm in school, like whatever. Like, what do you do? I teach at Soul Cycle. Oh my God, that's awesome. Like, well, I love connecting with you and I love being able to support you on here or something. And then I kind of leave it at that. And then a couple days later, maybe I'll start liking some of her stuff. And then like, I'll go back, you know, a week later and be like, hey, I don't know if you've been seeing any of the stuff that I've been doing, but I actually run these online virtual boot camps. I don't know if you've ever been interested in wanting to join me, but if you ever are, like, would love to have you join. And they'll be like, no, thank you, I'm good. But then they still, you know, continue to watch. So.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Sorry, I was a little bit like, wait, how do these pieces all go together?
I think it's just for me, like it's not like so strategic. It's more of like I kind of give them I feel them out, right? If they're posting all these like sweaty selfies and stuff, like I'm going to probably invite them to my group right away. But if they're just like a random person that is like a teacher and they just like occasionally post pictures of their family and stuff, like I wouldn't just like aggressively invite them to coaching or to challenge group because like we just got connected. So then I just want to connect with them. So I think,
so how do you track all that? Because that's like my biggest issue. Like, I don't mind doing like the massive action, but then I just feel like I'm forgetting so many people and forgetting to go from the like connection to the invite or to like being strategic about connecting, liking their stuff, inviting, because I'm just like, there's too many people.
I get that. Trust me. And I mean, there's absolutely people that have like fallen through the cracks for sure. I mean, there's when you're sending that many invites, but I do STEM. I use pen and paper first, and I kind of write all the Instagram handles down if they're responding back. Like if people are ghosting me like 5 times, I'm not really writing them down because that's just, there's a lot of those.
Right.
If they're even like, no, thank you, I will write them down. Or sometimes like I'll actually write all of their handles down. Maybe I'm, you know, doing 30, I'll write their handle down and I'll give them a little like dot if they responded, you know. So I'm like doing paper and pen first. And then like at night, I'm putting people into my system that are actually worth continuing to engage with, because I know like a month later, if I'm still talking to or I've invited Christina 5 times and then I didn't track her, but I'll go back, you know, I'm inviting her again. I can see those messages, right? So like those ghosting people, I don't track all the time because for me, it's just, it's too much. I only track the people that I'm like having conversations with, or maybe they said no, thank you. Because if they're still watching my stories 3 weeks later, I'll see that invite I sent and I'll just invite them again, maybe. So
gotcha. That makes sense. What's STIM? I heard you mention that a couple times. I have no idea what that is.
STIM Social is just one of the, it's like Captivate. It's one of those like follow, unfollow. There's like, there's hundreds of those apps that will, you pay $30 a month or something and it'll follow people like your target audience. So that was what I was using at first. And then I did Jumper Media for a little bit, which was a little bit more pricey, but then I was a little scared about that. And so now I'm just not using anything and I just I use my own personal. I'll go to like someone that I love, like maybe an influencer or something, like someone I love to follow, and I look at their followers and then I start connecting with those people. So yeah.
So do you have a tracking system now that you use to track all those, or is it just pen and paper?
Well, I do pen and paper yes, I'll just show you. Like yesterday I did this. This is the business tracker. Instead of like weekly, I'm going to be doing this daily. And then I have all these names down and I have like, it's just their Instagram names. And then if they didn't say anything back to me, I'm just going to leave them as a name here. And then if they did, I'll write in the notes, and then those are the people at night I'm going into and putting in my streak. Google Streak is where I have them. Like, those are the people that said no thank you, or those are the people that said they're already on their fitness journey but they want to continue to support me, or those are the people that say not right now. So those people are getting in that system. And then maybe if I'm ever like, oh no, I'm running out of people, like I could come back to this in a month or 3 weeks and be like, let's go re-invite that other girl. So I'm just I'm like a teacher, pen and paper kind of person, but I know organizationally I need to have more of a structure through Google Streak.
Awesome. So are you doing like a page, like that second page of the tracker? You're doing a page a day of names?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was actually thinking about that too, because I was like, this is not enough.
Yeah, and I was looking, people I've contacted this week, I would tell my coaches, if you have really big goals and that's your weekly contact, that's not going to work. Like, I think that's pretty light that's like 30 invites a week. I don't think that's going to really get you to these big goals if you have them.
Awesome. Thank you for answering all those questions.
So good. This is so good. Any last questions? We're about out of time. We're good.
That was helpful.
So helpful. I have a page of notes too. So no, we appreciate you so much. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing all your knowledge and your tips and tricks and your hustle. Like you hustle, and it's just so cool to watch. So thank you guys for all your questions. I'll see everyone next week, and let me know if you need anything.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.